Hey guys, welcome back to Quick Notes with Chris. Today we're going to be talking about the book Who Moved My Cheese by Dr. Spencer Johnson. It's actually a really interesting book, a very different take in terms of success models and stuff like that, but generally it talks about the story of four people or four characters who essentially love cheese. They have cheese and basically it's taken away from them. Now, two of the characters go, alright, we're entering the maze. We're entering the maze in order to find more cheese. The other two decide not to. They're like, nah, I'm not going to. We're just going to sulk, complain about it. Now, eventually, after a certain period of time about sulking and complaining that the cheese is no longer there, one of them gets sick of it. He goes, okay, you know what? I'm done. I'm doing it. I'm just going to go out and find who stole my cheese. I'm going to go find some more. I'm going to understand that it's not there anymore. I'm going to go into the maze. Now, he ends up writing on the maze walls in hopes of the other person who stayed behind, who's the only one who didn't enter the maze to find the cheese, would eventually follow in his footsteps. But after a long perseverance, the character who enters the maze ends up finding the other two characters and they all find the cheese together. Now, the point of that story is that the cheese represents what you want. It represents what you want most out of life and how basically it's not always going to be there for you and you need to actively put yourself in dire situations and in comfortable situations in order to achieve the certain things that you want out of life. So basically, whenever it comes to what it is that you want, you need to understand what it is first. So whether it's money, whether it's health, whether it's relationships, whatever it is, whatever the abundant thinking that you want to find in terms of life, you need to first identify what it is and put yourself in positions in order to succeed. There's a lot of success principles that the book talks about and uses unique innuendos whenever it comes to cheese, but essentially cheese is what you want. So the first thing to understand about cheese is that cheese moves. Alright, cheese, money, whatever it is that it changes, and you need to understand that you need to be moving with it. What it always comes back to the fact that like growth mindsets, fixed mindsets. And basically nature never stagnates. Everything is going to constantly be changing, but the person who adapts to it, of course, is going to reap the most benefits. So understand that what you want out of life is always going to change, especially if you end up accomplishing it. The next point is anticipate that change, right? Change is always going to happen. The person who anticipates it can put himself in or put him or herself in position in order to make sure that they can reap the most benefits. Whether you're working in stocks, whether you're running your own business, whether you're working in real estate, especially with the recent recessions that are going on, understand that no matter what, there's always a way to put yourself in a financial position to basically take advantage of the changes that are happening. So do your best to anticipate. There's always going to be signs. Anticipation happens, you have to reflect, you have to evaluate, you have to understand the differences. Look at the stock market, look at the changes that are happening within your industry on a day-to-day basis. Look at your competitors, understand where you sit on the ladder, understand the changes that you need to make, and basically understand that there needs to be plans, processes in place to take advantage of the changes that are going to happen. So, number one, so far, cheese moves, all right? Your wants and changes are always going to happen. If you can anticipate the changes, you're always going to be in a better position to basically reap the benefits of the change that's going to occur. The third thing is monitor the change. So, whatever is measured can be managed. It's hard to basically look at statistics without understanding where they are. So you do need to have some form of process that monitors the changes that are happening. Like, I'm just going to relate it directly to business because that's the easiest way to basically understand this book. Right? There's always going to be trends. No matter what, there's going to be market trends, there's going to be client trends, there's going to be things that are always going to show and have a level of, things that you can understand and take away from in order to benefit from, in order to enhance your business. For example, clients, right? Clients. If you look at whoever those clients are bringing in most revenue for your business, normally it's generally about 20%. 20% of your clients bring in revenue for 80% of your business, right? That's a trend there. So what can you do in order to anticipate a change or at the very least reap the most benefits? Market your entire business model to the 20%. 20% of people who are developing 80% of your revenue until increase that type of client, increase the consistent revenue that your business is going in. And that all happens from trends, right? So you always want to be monitoring the person who monitor the numbers and you'll be able to reap the benefits, all right? And then the next one is adapt quickly, all right? Adapt or die. Whenever things does happen, whenever industries do change, whenever new laws do come in, they happen all the time, all right? Rather than sulking, rather than getting down in the dumps, you want to basically jump on it. Make the adaptation as soon as possible, right? No matter what, there's no point in sulking. No matter what, there's no point in sulking. It's never going to change, at least in the meantime. So the best thing you can do in the short term is make changes as quick as you possibly can. Especially with everything that's happening at the moment, anyone who was basically to understand that or had some level of anticipation was able to make changes on the fly and changes quickly to make sure that they weren't actually taken out of the race, they weren't basically taken out of commission, they weren't made redundant, and if they were, they had a backup plan. So whenever things happen, drastic changes have to happen in your life, in your business. Make sure that you're on top of it. Adapt or die. That's just the rules. It's the name of the game, okay? So you want to always make sure that you're in a position to make the most changes possible, and that also comes through anticipation. The next one is move with the cheese. I interpret this one as move with the market, okay? If you're trying to sell something that people aren't buying, you're already setting yourself up for failure. You basically want to sell to what is buying. Innovation is obviously key, but always make sure that you understand your market, what it is that you're aiming towards, who it is that you're aiming towards selling to, right? Making sure that you're always staying adaptive with that. Because the thing is, the market's always going to be changing, but there's always going to be, signs that allow you to make sure that you're always moving your business in the correct direction. The next one is enjoy the change, embrace it, right? Reminisce on the good times in order to make sure that you stay humble. Take aside your ego from time to time to understand that things could be worse off, but at the same time, never be content, right? Understand, yes, things were better, but to those good times will come ahead. A really good way to look at it is that everybody always like, oh, those were the good old days. Those are the good old days. Understand that sometimes, every now and again, you are in the good old days. The day that you're living now, the weeks that you're living now, this year, you're going to look back on in a few years' time and understand that those were one of the good days. And those embracements and understanding that you are living in the thick of it, this is the best days of your life, right? It allows you to enjoy and embrace it. And maybe you won't take it for granted. So, just to summarize everything that this book talks about, it basically understands that cheese is an analogy for the things that you want out of life. First of all, you have to identify what it is, right? Whether it's your business, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your health, okay? Whatever it is, and make basically position yourself in order to achieve the things in those different areas. In the book specifically, the story talks about the different types of people there are. There are people who would just understand that when things happen, inconvenience happens, they will just go out and get it. There's a really great quote. Most people will run 5 kilometers if they feel as if someone stole $20 for them. So if someone steals $20 out of your pocket, they'll chase them 5 kilometers in order to get that $20 back. But they won't try in a race at a chance of winning 1,000 if they come first. But they will if they feel like they deserve it. That's the takeaway from that story. So, understand that the person who adapts most is always going to reap the most benefits. And make sure that you're an adaptable person. Never stagnate. Always have the things surrounding you, the environment that's surrounding you that supports the ability to change, and to make sure that you reap the benefits of the change. The next one is cheese moves. Your wants are always going to change, especially if you're the person achieving them. So make sure that you're in a position that you can take advantage of that change. Anticipate change. The person who understands the market trends is always going to reap the most benefits, especially when it comes to the next point of monitoring change. In order to anticipate, you have to monitor. Whatever is measured is what gets managed. So you want to make sure that you have a track record of your previous examples, of your previous successes, understand where you're at in order so you can make improvements. It's the first step towards making improvements in your life. The next one is adapt quickly. Always, whenever massive change happens, the person who adapts the fastest is always going to reap the most benefits. The next one is move with the cheese. Understand the market trends. Understand what people want, and understand making sure that you're in the correct maze in order to get the right cheese for you. The cheese just means what you want. Make sure that you're in the correct vehicle that's going to offer you the results that you want. The next one is enjoy the change. Embrace it. Understand you're probably in the good old days now. Things are always going to get better. Things are always going to get worse. But embrace where you are right now and be grateful for the circumstances and opportunities that you've been given. Who Moved Your Cheese? It's a great book by Dr. Spencer Johnson. I highly suggest that you do read it because there are a lot of concepts and a lot of things that you can take away from the book that you just won't get in a quick video summary. It's one of the best books of the generations. It's a New York best time seller. But anyways, guys, that is all for Quick Notes with Chris. Right, but don't let your improvement journey stop there. Continue looking at all the other videos that we do have on the channel. You'll always be able to find a way in order to reap a benefit. We still have multiple videos coming out for the rest of the week, and for the rest of the day I'm planning to have 4 more uploads. So if you like what we're talking about, if you like the movement and what we're trying to basically emulate within today's society, like, comment, subscribe, maybe even give us a share, maybe even do your own. Who knows, you maybe have your own type of viewership on the book. I still can't stress enough, that you're always going to get more benefits out of the book if you read it yourself. Summaries can only give you so far, and on top of that, you might even take away things that I definitely didn't see myself, or if you're reading it from a different perspective. If you're reading it from a relationship perspective, of course you're going to interpret it differently. If you're reading it from a business perspective, of course you're going to interpret it differently. So I always suggest that you find your own journey, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm Chris. It was Quick Notes with Chris. That was Who Moved My Cheese by Dr. Spencer Johnson. I appreciate your time, and I will see you in the next video. Alright, thanks guys.